Alright, my name is Clementine Afana, but people just call me Clem. Sometimes they say Clemo, I don't know why, I think it sounds more masculine. Sometimes they say Clemmy, but that's where Travel with Clem comes from. And I'm a medical doctor by training, and traveling has been my passion for the past 15 years. And so in the travel industry, I focus on adventure and sustainability, but from the perspective of community, culture, and cuisine. And I'm also a member of the Adventure Travel and Trade Association, and I'm in charge of partnerships with the Black Travel Alliance, which is an NGO that helps to increase more diversity in travel and show more people of colors in spaces where we are not usually represented. As somebody who is in the travel field, my work has been published on Explore magazine, which is one of Canada's top outdoor magazines, and Matador Network, which is also super focused on travel. And generally, I work with brands, tourism boards, DMOs, CVBs and both as a writer, content creator, and I essentially help to figure out ways we can showcase more of the sustainability appeal of the destination without making it boring or without making it sound too expensive. Because people think that traveling sustainably means you have to go green everything, or you have to spend all the money that you have. So, I've been to 28 countries, and please do not ask me which one my favorite is, because if you're in Canada, I will say it's Canada. But after having been to so many countries, one of the things that I realized is that eventually the landscapes start to look similar, and what starts to feel different about each destination is the people you speak with, the way they love or don't love their country, and the way they share in their culture. And this is one of the reasons why, for me, I feel like it's important to share more stories where people can actually learn how to travel better in a way that they connect with local communities and they connect with the destinations that become their hosts for whatever period of time they're traveling for. So for this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about some destinations that have really adopted, they have made changes to be more sustainable and how it has actually impacted the quality of life of their residents. And we're going to look at 3 case studies. So we're going to travel with Clem first to Fredericton, New Brunswick. Now, before putting this slide, I should have said that I'm currently on a cross-Canada tour where I'm exploring every single province and territory of Canada, meaning 13 provinces and territories over 13 weekends as a solo female traveler. And the goal for this tour is to really highlight how somebody can travel better, highlight how you can travel more sustainably, and show people that it's possible to do this. So when I picked, so obviously for this tour I have to go everywhere, even in Nunavut, right? So when I picked New Brunswick, by the way, that wasn't shade. I'm looking forward to going to Nunavut. Like, I'm actually really excited. I think I have a pretty good parka already, and I probably need to just get some boots. So when I picked New Brunswick, I wanted to go to the Bay of Fundy, and that is because that is one of the most popular places to explore in New Brunswick. But long story short, I ended up going to Fredericton, which is the capital city, and it turns out to be a really beautiful city, which is known as the city at the heart of nature. And so Fredericton is a very small city compared to many Canadian metropolises, and it has about 65,000 inhabitants. One of the challenges that Fredericton has when it comes to tourism is the fact that a lot of people who come to Fredericton only go there to spend the night because they are going somewhere else. They're going to St. Andrew, they're going to the Bay of Fundy, they're going to other places that are more commercialized and more popular. And so one of the things that Fredericton is doing currently to be able to not just compete but also attract the people that would want to go for what they have to offer is to build their attractions around what the city is about, around what the city loves. Now, a lot of times when I talk with decision makers about how they can better promote their cities, their destinations to travelers who are looking for different experiences, I usually hear things like, we want to get as much traffic as, New York City or as Toronto, but the conversation usually ends up being in showing them that you don't need to become a Toronto, you don't need to become a New York City, you don't need to become a Montreal. You can be the city that you are and build your attractions around what you have so that you can attract the people who want what you have. Because right now the conversation is about people looking for more authentic experiences, people wanting to connect with the cultures and with the nature. And Fredericton is that city where within 15 minutes you can literally be on the Wollaston River and you can be paddling for like half an hour. Like if you work in town, you can take your lunch break, 1 hour lunch break, drive for 5 to 10 minutes, go paddling for 30 minutes and come back after your lunch break. This is how beautiful the city is, and I kid you not, this is not an advertisement. I experienced this myself and I was thoroughly impressed that in a city that is a small city compared to so many, you can actually have so many nature and outdoor adventures that you can do at the heart of the city, and that is why it's called the city, the art city at the heart of nature. And so what is really impressive about what they are doing is that they are building their attractions around what they offer. And for the residents of the community, because Fredericton and New Brunswick in general is a growing province where you're getting a lot more immigration, there is always going to be a challenge with welcoming new people and building infrastructures versus maintaining what makes you you. And so when I spoke with the mayor of Fredericton, they were telling me about the plans that they have and the initiative to actually make sure that the city remains as green as it is, even though they are building new infrastructure for housing, new attractions, and new things that are going to serve the new resident population. So I felt like this was a beautiful example to highlight. This was an innovative urban tourism idea to really build your tourism package around what your city is. So you don't have to change necessarily to attract more tourists, but attract the tourists that are going to want what you have to offer and then get more of those tourists. And of course, when you end up going to Fredericton, I hope you end up doing that, you'll be able to explore and to see beautiful landscapes like this. And everything that I did there was within 15 minutes of downtown. So I think Professor Moreno will probably call this 15-minute city. The second case study where we are going to travel to is Quebec City. So we are traveling with Clem now to Quebec City, which is in Quebec. Quebec City is known as Canada's version of France due to historical heritage. And Quebec City has over 560,000 inhabitants. So this is already a big city. It is one of the most commercialized, most marketed, most advertised cities in Canada. Quebec City does not need any more publicity than what it has. So the marketing team is doing really, really well. But one of the challenges that they have with that is the fact that because the city is so popular, there is a problem of over-tourism and overcrowding. And as a result of this, the local populations who are living within different neighborhoods of Quebec City have actually raised complaints, and that has generated a feeling of resentment towards tourists. Because we know that when tourists come, you have neighborhood gentrification, you have increasing prices increasing, not just accommodation but also services, you have noise, and you have everything else that the tourists bring. And so one of the things that Quebec City is currently doing, as part of their sustainability plan, I took this from their sustainability plan, and one of the things that really, really interested me there was the fact that one of their priorities is to improve the local residents' life. So how are they doing this? Because we don't want to get rid of tourism, we need the tourism dollars. The way they are doing this, or one of the ways they are doing this, is by diverting the tourists towards lesser known neighborhoods of the city. Now, if you go to Quebec City, everybody will see the Chateau Frontenac. Everybody always wants to have a photo by the big castle because it is really beautiful. Like it makes you live your castle dreams. But what Quebec City is doing that is really beautiful is they show people what other neighborhoods where they can have similar human experiences when they explore the city. So people will not have learned about different neighborhoods like Limoilou or Charlevoix, but they conceptualize itineraries where tourists can actually have multi-day experiences, and that helps them to decentralize the focus from the core of Quebec City where people are actually going in the outskirts. Now, we've been talking a lot about traveling more sustainably, but I think that when we think about the visitor's experience, somebody who is going to a new destination, they don't necessarily want to do what is fun, they want to do what is trendy, they want to do what is memorable. And so with this approach, you are actually, instead of telling them you can go XYZ place to XYZ place, you are actually crafting an itinerary that includes that experience so that it's already a natural thing for them to go there. And so by doing that and by developing these ideas, they have been able to divert the traffic to lesser known areas or neighborhoods within Quebec City, and they have been able to get people to discover those neighborhoods while reducing the over-tourism problem at the core of the city. Now, I know you probably don't need recommendations of what to do in Quebec City because it's a very popular city, and I'm sure whatever you do there, you're going to have a great time. Now, the third place where we're going to travel with Clem is going to be somewhere a little bit warmer in the winter, and that's going to be Dominica, the nature isle of the Caribbean. Now, Dominica, the nature isle of the Caribbean, is not the Dominican Republic, which is close to Haiti, but that is Dominica, or in French we call it La Dominique. It's close to Martinique and Guadeloupe. It's an hour away by flight from Barbados, which is a popular hub in the Caribbean for people traveling from Canada. Now, Dominica has about 70,000 inhabitants, which is literally the size of Fredericton that I just talked about, or the size of any other smaller neighborhood here in Ontario. That is how the island is. And if you don't pay attention on the map, you will not even see it on the map. People usually ask me, how did you end up going to this island? How did you end up finding it? This is going to be a story over lunch. Now, the problem with Dominica is the fact that because it's a lesser known island compared to Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados, less people travel there, right? The more your destination is marketed, the more eyeballs you get on it, the more people get to go there. And so, with this problem, so knowing that, when the pandemic hit, oh, by the way, these are gorgeous photos of Dominica, before I go to the next slide, and just to let you know, this is the island that you want to go to if you love nature and adventure. None of these photos are edited. Like, if you go there, this is what you're going to see, regardless of the season. Now, when the pandemic hit, obviously for an island like this, which is very dependent on tourism, external tourism, I should say, it became difficult to fill these hotel rooms, and the tourism rates decreased because of the pandemic. And so I am particularly proud of this project because I got to work with the tourism board to actually bring back tourism, but in this case we're focusing on local tourism, getting the people to actually explore their own destination. Because the problem was that people are in the island, they have money, but they don't know where to go. Why? Because most places are always advertised to external to tourists from all over the world. So what we did was we picked 12 destinations within the island across different areas of the island. We identified local businesses that were offering services, locally owned hotels, and we crafted itineraries to show people what they could do there if they wanted to escape over a weekend. In addition to that, we also work with local key decision makers to be able to promote those small itineraries and show people what they could go to each destination. What they could do, in each destination. And the impact of this, or the benefit, was the fact that, first of all, people knew more about the island. People were able to be better advocates for their islands and for their own communities. And it also extended within the diaspora, where diaspora members who now discovered what the island had to offer were also able to advocate on what the island has to offer. So, to sum it up, tourism requires innovation regardless of the stage where we are, but it's important to know that even no matter how much we innovate, we start with what we have. In addition, tourism generates growth and revenue, but we always need to put the local communities and the local hosts first in every tourism endeavor that we take. And tourism requires unicity, but it's important for us to remember that what makes us different is what makes us actually unique. And so to wrap it up, like Wendy is kindly telling me, I'm going to be continuing my Cross Canada tour, where I'm going to continue exploring every single province and territory in Canada to highlight sustainable travel initiatives and ways in which people can incorporate these in their travel itineraries. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Clementine Fana. Or when you are after work on social media, if you really want to see the fun stuff that I do on my trips. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for having me.